that recording. So let's start today's session, a really important one. And this is where we need to do a lot of manual and also automated work. So let's start for what we have already done until now. So if you check on previously, we were talking about systematic literature review steps. And what has been done already, we were on the conceptualization stage. If you remember, we discussed a few important parts, and I want to recap that. So you should be aware what already has been done. The first thing which we have done is we have developed our research question, and we use lsa.org or any other AI tool which you can use for writing your research question. And I believe everyone already have their research question, refined research question with them. Okay, so that's important part which we have already covered in the previous two sessions. And then from that research question, we discussed ChatGPT, how to use ChatGPT in order to develop some understanding around our research question. That was introduction part of our research article or the template. I have not completed the writing. I just gathered the information about the introduction, where I discuss how we can get information on the literature and how we can discuss or collect information on the limitation on the existing body of knowledge. So that is already being done. So these two parts have already been done. Now our research question, because they were standardized, we use lsa.org to develop our research question. In that case, I can say that your research question was standardized and you can develop keywords from your research question. Okay, so this is where I have already uploaded one video in the previous section, lesson 4 or 5, where I discussed in the past as well how you can develop keywords from different research question. And I took one research question as a case study and developed a few research question and try to give you an illustration how you can find out the relevant keywords for your research question. So that's where you need to work. But for example, if you have your research question, obviously you are already aware of your keywords which you want to use. Okay, so the keywords are really, really important. And I have already uploaded one video on your portal. You can check that how we can develop keywords and use them for our literature search. So this is not the topic for today's discussion, because this is already covered in one video, and video is already being uploaded. Okay, so I will try to make the process simpler for you, and I'm not going into the details of many things, but as I mentioned in my previous videos as well, I will provide you additional learning material in the additional learning. They might not be directly part of your literature review process or writing a literature review article, but still they are really important and useful information which you can use literature review. Okay, so that might be helpful for you in future work as well. Okay, so let's focus on the template we were using since day one. So we are aware of our research question. We are aware of the body of knowledge around that research question and the limitation of the literature. Somehow, I'm not saying that we have uncovered all the literature, but we have an idea around those research questions. And then we have developed a few keywords which are your main constructs in your research question. They would be playing a key role as a keyword. I will explain those keywords once we will be moving into the next section as well. And I have also uploaded one video for you where you can just give me a moment, sorry. Okay, so I have already uploaded one video where I have discussed how you can use this keyword research question to develop your research keywords. Really important one. Okay, so now let's move on. So what we have is we have research question, and then we have keywords with us, which is actually formulated from your research question. Now, search strategy. This is our next step. And I'll be focusing on search strategy and data extraction, two steps in one go, which I have already discussed in my previous session as well. These two steps are interlinked, so that's why I will be working on these steps together. So search strategy is really important. Okay, we need to develop a search strategy in order to search the relevant literature. Okay, now this session might be a little quick, so if you have any question, you can type in the chat box. We can take those questions later on, or if you feel any question is really important and you are unable to understand, or there is a misunderstanding, so you can unmute your mic at any point and ask me question. I would be happy to answer your question. Okay, so let's talk about the search strategy. This is where you will be learning about the PRISMA framework or PRISMA guideline. So this is a website. If you search on the Google PRISMA framework or PRISMA guideline, you will find out this type of steps, which basically tells us how we can strategize our search strategy and how we can apply those search strategy on different databases. Okay, so that this is a standard reporting procedure. We also name it preferred reporting item for systematic literature review and meta-analysis. So this is a really, really important method, and you need to learn that method, because without this, your systematic literature review or meta-analysis is incomplete. Okay, so that's how we do this PRISMA framework. It actually have different stages. Okay, so if I categorize those stages, first stage is identification. We identify what are our keywords, what are our main sources or databases. Then we try to screen our results or our search. Then we check different documents or different research article for eligibility, which we need to decide before we apply that on any database. So today we'll be learning those different steps as well, and also will apply those steps on Scooper's website as well. And then I will tell at finally how many research articles are being included. Okay, I'm discussing every step here separately. For example, the first step, you need to identify the keyword. Now the keywords are already with you. We already have a research question, and from that research question we can identify our keywords. Okay, and this is where, when we talk about the search criteria, we need to decide what are the databases we can use. You can use Google Scholar, you can use other databases, but as I mentioned in my previous videos or previous sessions, it's always preferred if you can use established databases like Web of Sciences and Scooper's, PubMed, or any other established database. That will be more appropriate for your systematic literature review. But sometimes we have some limitation in accessing these databases. That's really a problem. But if you try to solve that problem, obviously you have to lose some credibility of the research or the criteria or the PRISMA framework. So that's why I've always prefer if you use Scooper's or Web of Science. That's really important. Now, there was a question, can we use different databases? Yes, you can use different databases, and there is a method through which you can combine all these different results. I will discuss this step later on. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to identify the keyword. We need to define the main databases where we are trying to search, and then how are we going to extract the records. So mainly we will be extracting these records in Excel sheets. Okay, so there might be multiple Excel sheets, and then we can combine them together to formulate our final Excel sheet for analysis. That I will give you a technique through which you can combine different Excel sheets extracted from different sources. Okay, so this is the steps of identification in PRISMA framework or PRISMA guideline. Then a really important pattern or method where you need to define inclusion or exclusion criteria. That criteria somehow is dependent on your research question, also your research area, also your research method. There are many different segregations are already can be applied on this inclusion and exclusion criteria, but that is based on your understanding. Purely you need to provide. For example, I'm not interested in maybe non-English literature. I'm not interested in multinational companies. I'm just interested in small companies. All these different inclusion and exclusion criteria need to be listed before we apply that on any database. So we are preparing a plan here. Okay, so we have keyword, we know what databases are and how to extract the record. This is the inclusion and exclusion criteria. For example, I don't want to take more than five years literature because the topic is really new, or maybe in past there is a lot of research has been done and only in the last 5 years we have really emerging research on this topic. For example, for the COVID situation, you don't need to take 20 or 30 years data. You just need to take 5-year data. That would be more than enough, or 3 or 4-year data, because the topic is really new. So that's where we can define our inclusion and exclusion criteria based on different, judgmental criteria or purposive, whatever you decide based on your research. In some cases, if you are from medical background, we are just focusing on one particular set of treatments, or we are just focusing on male patients, or we are just focusing on child. So these are all different inclusion and exclusion criteria which you must need to identify and apply before you extract all the records. Okay, then you need to check the eligibility of all records. Okay, this eligibility can be checked on the database, and as well as you can check it off the database when you extracted the Excel sheet, and that Excel sheet you need to assess the quality as well. So that's really important. I will demonstrate all these steps, okay, and I will explain in detail. And then finally, you need to give us the final number of research articles which were included in this systematic literature review. Now go back. If I'm just going back for the previous picture, now you can see here, first stage is identification. On top corner, you can see identification, then screening, then eligibility, and then included. And this is a flow chart of your activities where you mention how many different databases from where you have extracted how many records, and then how you extracted those records. The important information here is this: if you check on records included through database screening, there was 3,453, a big number, a huge number. But later on, with another database, we have n is equal to 21. So 21 records were extracted. So finally, we removed duplicates, we removed all inclusion and exclusion criteria, and finally, we just have only 21 research articles. You can see how strict criteria we applied in order to reach to the relevant literature. That's really important, the way you define your inclusion and exclusion criteria. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that later on as well. So first, you need to identify your sources, your keywords, then you need to screen data, check the eligibility, and finally you need to provide us how many research articles were included and extract those research articles in Microsoft Excel sheet. Okay, and then we will be learning how we can do more detailed work with this Excel sheet as well. Okay, so this is your search strategy. You have already developed that strategy. The next step is data extraction, how to extract data. I have already developed a search strategy. I know my inclusion and exclusion criteria. Now it is time to apply that criteria on databases which we have already identified, and then extract the record. So that's where we'll be using two different databases, Web of Science and Scopus. To make things easier for you, we'll be just using Scopus. You can apply the similar criteria on Web of Sciences and all other databases, and I will share some videos for each databases as well. And if you have any difficulties, you can ask me later on as well. So this is how we will be working today. Now, finally, once we are done with the extraction, today we'll be also analyzing our literature. Okay, now, if you agree, I can just give you a demonstration of theory first, and then we can move on with the practical. Or if you want me to, demonstrate that data extraction first, and then take you to the data analysis, that is also possible. Now it's your choice. What do you think? I need your feedback in the chat box immediately. You want me to demonstrate how to extract data first, and then we do for analysis, or cover the theoretical part first and then we move on with the practical part? quickly. I need your feedback so we can move on the way you like it. Kindly type your response. Okay, so mainly people agree to demonstrate data extraction first. So let's say we okay, so let's move on with the website which we will be using for data extraction. Now I'm on the step 2 and step 3 where we'll be applying the strategy and extracting the data. Okay, this is what we are trying to do now. The website we'll be using is Scopus, a very prominent website, I believe, database. I believe most of us, we are already aware of this database. And if you have any difficulties in learning that database, I will upload some videos, separate videos in additional learning platforms, so where you can learn how we can use this database. Now, if we check on, let me, yes. Okay, this is our template. So if you remember, we have done some work here. Now, these are my research questions. Okay, how smart contracts would be leveraged on digital supply chain. So what do you think? What are the keywords here which I want to include? So one is smart contract, a simple one. Okay, and the second one is it can be digital supply chain or it can be just supply chain. I don't want to make it very much specific. That part we can do later on as well. In my case, I'm not focusing on SMEs. I'm not focusing on any country, any particular area, but I'm concerned with research articles only, and also I don't want to take non-English comments here. So this is my search strategy, very clear one. Okay, so my keywords are smart contracts and supply chain. So let's start with this. Give me a moment. Okay, I believe you can see my screen now. Okay, so let's think we have two different keywords. One is smart contract, and the second one is supply chains, which I'm interested in. Okay, so first one is smart contract, but remember, we always need to add inverted commas before and after the keyword, because the system will take it as one keyword, and this is not two different words now. It is only one keyword, smart contract. Okay, and I'm also interested and supply chain. So both keywords are basically really standardized. So I don't need to do a lot of work on this because they are really standardized. But in your case, in some time, you don't have the standardized keywords. So please go ahead and use elicit.org to find out what are the relevant or standardized keyword for your research question, which we have already done in our practice session. Okay, so now smart and contract. So this is a simple logical arrangement. I want to search the document which contains the smart contract and supply chain, both words in together in one document. Okay, so this search can be in article title, abstract, and keyword. So keep it general, because sometimes we can find these two keywords in abstract, sometime in keywords, or sometime in title. So I'll be just working on these two and click here on search. Okay, now this is really an important command because the system gives me what was my command. So I just copied this one and I want to paste it in my documents where I have this methodology. Okay, so just wanted to make sure this information will not be, lost. So this is really important information. Okay, now this is my syntax or command or prompt or query. And this is the result. So I have 1,121 research documents were found in the data. Okay. Now, this is a really good start. This is where you can apply Goldilocks test. Remember how to apply Goldilocks test? I have discussed in the previous video. I'll tell you when we'll be searching the literature. For me, this is a related, I think, relevant literature where I have 1,000 to 2,000 research article for an initial query. That's really an interesting area. But if I find, for example, I'm just trying to give you an example. I'm just studying another keyword which might be more general in nature. Just to give you an idea of how we can use Goldilocks test. So for example, performance and supply chain. Let's see how many research articles have been found. That's my understanding. There would be a huge number of research articles. It means that this area is not applicable because it's too broad, and we have 30,230 research articles which have discussed the performance and supply chain or supply chain and performance. So that's not a really good idea. So in my Goldilocks test, this area is really easy one. So we can't take any easy topic for systematic literature review, because already there are high possibility you will find many research articles based on this, even the systematic literature review. So there is no need for using this research article or using this topic. Now, let's say, if you remember, smart contract, and let's say my original keyword was digital supply chain. Now, this is digital supply chain and smart contract. So let's try to search this one and see how many research article we can, find out here. Now you can see only 13 documents were found. Now this is too hard. I can't focus on this area because very limited information or research articles are explaining these two topics together. So that's why this is too hard. So I need to make it general and an acceptable topic. So that's why I want to work on smart contracts and supply chain. Now you do understand how we apply Goldilocks test. Too easy, not acceptable. Too difficult, not acceptable. So we need to have an article at least, minimum 500 and then the maximum 2,000. That's my understanding. It depending on many other factors which you will learn in a while. But as a starting point, I believe 500 to 2,000 is fair enough. Other than above than this number or below than this number can cause problems, and you would not be able to do your research. Okay. Okay, why not use search keyword smart contract, smart and contract and supply chain? Okay, a good question. Why not we use smart and contract and supply chain? Let me just demonstrate that to you, so you can understand that the way these databases work more accurately. Good question. Okay, so let me just remove these keywords, inverted comma, and I'm just writing these different words only. Okay, now they are keywords, but each word is a keyword. Now I just searched, and now you can see, you will find, I believe, thousands of research articles, because the system is taking the same command which you mentioned. Okay, smart and contract and supply and chain. Not many documents, but still it is not acceptable. Why? Let me show you why it's not acceptable. I'm not sure the system is not getting many research articles. Now, why I'm not choosing this command, especially this one, because the smart and contract, they are two different keywords. Now, the query is like this. The system will check any topic with smart, okay? Then there should be another word, contract, but it doesn't necessarily they should be together. Okay, they should not be together. For example, smart is the first word and contract may be the last word of your keyword, okay, or your abstract or title as well. And then we have supply. Supply, it can be electric supply, it can be anything, because it is not supply chain, and chain is different. Now these different keywords are not giving me the relevant literature which I need, first thing. And second thing, in most of the cases, because there are many, and that's why the documents are very limited. But still, if I just use 2 or 3 keywords, you will find a huge number of research articles, because they will extract data from everywhere. This is not designated keywords. Okay, for me, smart contract is one keyword. Remember, don't use this type of keyword, and don't use and between one particular keyword. For example, organizational performance, it is one keyword in your research. When you just use performance and organization, so organization can be first word and the performance can be second or last word. So there might be many words between these two words that I don't want. Okay, so I want to restrict the system to extract only information based on smart contract. It's one keyword and supply chain. Okay, clear? I hope I answered your question in detail.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's why we need to be careful, because we need to extract the relevant literature, and otherwise it's it's a mess. We will not get right information. Okay, so we are clear about our keywords and the way we use. Now, these different databases, they use Boolean operators. So you can use and, you can use or, you can use not. All these Boolean operators you can use in these databases. For example, if I change this one, same research question, I want smart contract, but not supply chain. So if I change and to not, it means that the system will behave oppositely. Now you do understand what system will search. It will search smart contract, but in that smart contract, there should be no supply chain word, okay, there. And then I search, you will find article which are only based on smart contract, but there is no keyword of supply chain there. Okay, so it means that this smart contracts are not within supply chain context. It's different thing. So you can use and, not, or. There are many other Boolean operators which you can use. I have another separate video which I'll update on your additional learning, where you will be learning how you can use these databases. Okay, so now let's move on, because I don't want to focus only on this topic now. I will give you detailed videos of every topic, but for now let's do our work: smart contract and supply chain. So when I search, I find, I think, 100 and 1000 and Yeah, 1,121 research articles. So everything clear until here? Any question? So can we move on? If everything clear, we can move on and we can start our next stage. If you have any question, you can type, and if you are clear, so at least type clear so I can move on. Okay, good. Okay, now let's try to learn why I prefer these databases. They are really, really sophisticated databases. So if you check here, you will find out we have a lot of options, a bunch of options here, and then we have a huge number of options downstairs, side, the right side. So where you have all this refine your search. Now you are playing with this query now. So whatever you will be doing here in the refine search, that will change your original query. Now, what it can be and how we can use that criteria. So remember, I told you, I just want to take only English language research article. Now, let's say, what are the different filters available? So you can restrict number of year. So you can just click here and drag it to whatever number of year you want. So you can change this one. Okay. If you want to change any specific authors, you can include or exclude. Yes, you can do that. These are different subject areas. If you are just planning to learn from the business management perspective, so you can just click here and you can just restrict your search to the business management subject area. Document type, this is really, really important. There are several document types, but I'm interested in research articles. I'm not taking conference papers because sometimes they are too open and too early stage. They are not developed research articles most of the time. So that's why I'll be taking only articles, no book chapters, no review, no conference reviews, or no conference papers. So now you can see most of my research articles here based on only 436. So most of the document will be removed from here, and I will be end up with 436 research documents. Then these are the source titles, mean that the research journals where these articles have been published. So if you want to restrict any 2, 3, 4 research article or journals, you can do that. Some people, they only did the literature review on one journal. That is also possible if you have a really good research journal where you want to see how this journal was progressing over the year in terms of specific topic. Yes, you can limit your search to some specific research journal as well. Publication stage, I don't care if it is final or article in press, both have similar categories, but it's your choice. If you don't want to take any article in press, you can just exclude this article in press as well. The keyword, this is where most important part of your research would be done. Keyword. So if your database, for example, you are searching and your database is maybe 2,000 or 3,000 research article and you want to restrict them, then you will use this keyword and click here on all. You will see a huge number of keywords. You can select which one you want to keep and which one you want to exclude from your search. Okay, for example, if there is any keywords which you believe they are not relevant, you can exclude those. Or for example, if you don't want to take food supply chain, you want to exclude that, you can do that and just click here and you can exclude any keywords. So from here you will learn 2 or 3 different things. First one is what are the main keywords which have been used in your area. Now you try to understand how this literature or this search parameter they work. So from here you can get some idea what type of literature is already available in your okay. So Hyperledger Fabric, I don't think so that's required for me or something like this, so I can exclude. Okay, exclude this particular keyword. Okay, now similarly you have different affiliations. The universities, you have funding sponsor, the countries. If you want to restrict your search to any country, yes, you can do that. Source, I'm interested in journal, not proceeding. This is what I already told you. And here the most important one. I want to take only English language research articles so I can, understand the ideas clearly. Okay, and then I click here on limit to. Now this is a quick inclusion and exclusion criteria, but remember you need to define your inclusion and exclusion criteria before you apply it. That's what we do. This is called a search strategy. So you need to develop your search strategy before you apply it. Okay. Now you check here. Sorry. I think I made any mistake. Let me. Let me just limit it to. Okay, just give me one moment. Okay, so you can see 436 documents were found, and now you can see that this query is already being changed. Again, I will just copy this one here. First time with this keyword, I received 1126 26, I think. I don't remember, but just write the number of document, and now we have 436 because this is something we need to report. Okay, so that's why it's really important to record all different steps here. Okay, so now you can see it's already being changed. Document types are article only. Now I can apply another criteria for English language only. Now with the English, I have only 415 documents. So again, I copied this one, and just for my information, I paste it here, and now I have only 415 research articles. This is really important because we need to report in methodology all these inclusion and exclusion criteria, and also we need to create a PRISMA table as well. Okay, so which I have shown you in my presentation. Now let's move on. Now this is we learn how we can improve our search and reduce the number of research articles which we need, and we can read to the relevant literature. Yeah, any question here?
Yes, I have a question on the search query. So
Yeah.
I'm limited to something. Where can I find the updated query? So I think I can copy paste that like what you did to the template.
What type of data are you using? Scopus, right?
Yes, I'm doing the exact same
Okay,
thing.
so if you click there on the advanced query, if it is closed, you will not get it. But if it is on, you will get this one. Okay.
Oh, I get it now. Thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
And even if it is closed, and once you are done, you will see the queries are already down there on you have your profile, right? So you can find these queries again through yeah, this one advanced search. And when I'll complete my search, you will see save search. Okay, and now again I have this, and then the third method, if you check on if you have this search button, and this is your search history, you will find your queries here as well. Okay, so there are different methods. All your work is already saved with the number of documents with each command. So don't worry, there are multiple methods through which you can copy and paste this one. Okay, so this is also available. And the good thing here with these databases, you can combine two queries and perform your search quickly as well. So we were here, I can just go directly to this query and again, I'll be on that stage where I have 415 research articles. So these systems or these databases are really helpful. So don't worry, you will get all your information and it is saved there. Okay, clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's move on. Now initially we have done our search. We have limited our search based on different queries. Now, remember, this is a disagreement between the researchers. For example, many people will tell you, you need to create multiple queries, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 different queries. I have seen many scholars and researchers, they always, try to tell you, okay, so the one query is not enough. You need to do 4, 5, 6, or maybe different queries. I do agree with that statement, but remember, it's a logical thing. Now, when I say smart contracts and supply chain, all those documents which appear in this search, if I include any other query or any other word, that will restrict my search, not add my search. Okay, so in that case, if I keep my query a simple one and accurate one, it means that I'm on the accurate track and I can receive maximum information from that. Okay, I don't need to apply, for example, again another digital, and again if I apply and digital, it means that it will reduce the number of search, which I don't want, because I want to use this keyword, these keywords from here. So you don't need to apply all those queries at first instance. So apply the simplest one and then refine it with these options, the filter, and especially the keyword ones. Okay, so that will help you to access to the relevant literature in more accurate way. Okay, so there are different approaches, but this is my approach, and this really helped me to find the relevant literature in all respect. Okay, now let's move on to the next step. Now from here, now we need to export all these documents. So I'll just click here and export. I'm interested in exporting this CSV file. Okay, so I'll click here and the system will show me another window where I have many different options. These are called metadata. If you are aware with the concept of metadata, it means that this is the information related to that document which is being uploaded, means that information related to that research article. So it's not exactly research article, but this is the information of that research article. So I will choose everything and then click here on export. Now the system is going to export all my documents in CSV file, which is I can open it in Excel sheet and then I can rework on that. Okay, so this is the first phase where you can download or you can extract the relevant records. Okay, so is it clear? Any question here? Anyone having any difficulties? Any misunderstanding? Okay, so if things are clear, we can move on. Now you can see this is my Scopus file, which I have just extracted. So I want to open this one in Excel so we can see what type of information is available here. And now this is where you have to do a little bit, manual work. I don't have any specific criteria to remove these duplicates. So duplicates is not here, but remove the article which have some issues. Okay, so we need to check on these articles manually. So what I'm trying to check is I'm trying to apply the assessment or the quality assessment criteria. Okay, so the simple thing is all information should be in a particular order. It should not be scattered, or it should not be misordered. So because we will be using different database, different software to use this file, so the more accurate your file is, the more important information you can extract from this. So that's why I'll be looking at these different articles. So you can check on these titles. If you feel the titles are relevant, so you can go through them quickly. And if you feel any article is not relevant, just highlight or remove that article from this database and note it down, because why you remove that, okay? Because that is not relevant with your research article, okay? Or with your literature search. So this is where you need to do a little bit manual work, but it will not take much time. Maybe if you have 1000 research article, it will just take 1 hour or maybe 1.5 hours for you to go through every research article and try to figure out whether this is related or not. Okay, so this is how you need to do your manual quality assessment. So these are all steps which we studied, we can use in PRISMA framework. Okay, so let me find out any article which might not be accurate for me.
So you do this step by reading the title first, is it correct?
Yes, because this is the titles, because I don't want to read all the information. I just wanted to read the the title of the research article, and I try to analyze, okay, whether this title fits in the scope of my research or scope of my systematic literature, and you can find it easily. But if you are confused and if you are not sure whether this article should be included or not, then you need to go and read the abstract. Abstract is also available here, okay? So you can go here and read abstract. So if you check here, abstracts are also, this is your abstract, okay? You can also read the abstract of any research article if you are not clear about that, okay? In 90% cases, we can understand from the title what exactly that the article is about. So then we can move on with that. Okay, for example, I found that this article is not relevant. I just highlighted at first, maybe, and later on I can remove it, but first I will try to double check it. So be careful while you are removing any article here, because it's really important. We need to justify why we remove that particular article. We need to give explanation within our methodology as well. For example, we removed English literature, non-English literature, and we have 415 research article. Now, the next, maybe you remove 10 more research article, but why? You need to give the explanation. And that explanation is really clear. Okay, these articles do not fit in the scope of my research article or my research. And you need to have that sheet as well, which was these 10 research article, because if any reviewer asks you, can you tell us why you remove that, so you can justify easily. Okay, so you need to keep your record clearly. So that's how it works. So finally, for example, I'm planning to remove this one. So I'll just create another sheet after this filtered one, and I can just delete this one. Okay, so now we have 414 research article for say in this data. Now this is how we extract the record. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint, and if everything is clear, so we have reached to this point where you have extracted the data, right? So from this database. Okay, so there are different databases. I will upload some videos for Web of Sciences as well, but for a standard, we are taking Scopus. The similar way, Web of Sciences is also working in the same way. You can use similar queries, similar search strategies on Web of Sciences as well, but I will also upload the video for Web of Sciences as well. Okay, so the steps are clear here. We have already applied inclusion and exclusion criteria. We have filtered our query. Now we have 415 research article with us in Excel sheet. Until here, everything is clear. Any question, anything? I believe it's really simple work, so nothing special, but if you have any question, please go ahead.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah, hello.
Please, how do you delete the duplicates from the Excel sheets?
Yeah. Okay, for Excel sheet, that's where, you know, a lot of learning comes in. We need to do a lot of work with Excel, and I'll upload one video for the Excel separately, but that would be again in the additional learning. Now let's talk about here. You ask a question, how we going to remove the duplicates, right? So let's go for a quick question, a quick answer. Okay, so this is your data field in Microsoft Excel. This is where you will do a lot of work, because all this text query and merging the data and filtering the data needs to be done under this tab data. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to remove duplicates. So this is a tab where you can find out remove duplicates. Okay, so you can just click here and tell the system which type of duplicates you want to remove. We will not keep everything in common. So let's say I'm just interested in title, for example. You can use any other field as well, but that's your choice. DOI can be a similar thing, but sometime one article can have different DOIs if it is uploaded to different databases. So I'm not using any other field, so you can check there are many fields available. So I'm not interested in that only. Just go through all of them one by one if you want to, because they might be important for you. Okay, no, I'm not interested in this. So only thing I do care is title. Okay, so when I click here, you will find no duplicates found. So if you have data and you copy data from different files, obviously if you are working in Web of Sciences and Scopus, you will copy that data under this one. You will have different duplicates. So the system can remove those duplicates easily. There is no problem in removing those duplicates. Okay, clear?
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, so that's it. You can remove your duplicates. So once you have removed your duplicates, your file is ready. That's also comes under the quality assessment. If there are some duplicates in that sheet, you will clearly explain in your methodology, okay, there was 20 duplicates which we removed. For example, when you mention in your methodology, we have 20 articles from Web of Sciences, 50 articles from Scopus. Now there are total 70 research articles in that Excel sheet. But when we run this remove duplicate query, the system found that 10 articles were removed due to duplicates. Now you have only 60 research articles. So this is really clear. You need to report each and everything you are doing here, because this is related to methodology, and this is where we are following scientific methods. Okay, so don't skip any method here or any step here which you have already done but you are not reporting it. That may create some biasness in your data, so be careful on that part. Okay, so
Question, Prof.
Yeah.
Do we need to some kind of data normalization, or data normalization means that we make sure that the keywords that written in the different way, like for example, logistics, you're putting the S at the end, it's supposed to be the same like logistic, right? So do we need to do some kind of that? Do we need to go through that process as well?
For example, if you remember, if you check here, I did not wrote supply chains, okay, because just to remove that S. Similarly, if you are working in the logistics, don't use logistics, just use logistic, just to avoid these type of the error. Now this will come with practice. You need to practice. Otherwise, the second method is this: you can apply different strategies and check your result. But the thing is, the more strategies you will use, the more data you will have, and then you will end up with something really complex, and it's really difficult for you to combine them in one research or one study, or even in the one file. So I would suggest you to work with your keywords carefully rather than doing that sort of work which you are referring to. Why not we spend some more work on developing our right keywords, right? So if your keywords are correct or accurate or standardized, you will not face this problem. But remember one thing, we always need to check our data before we import it into any other software. That's for sure we need to do, and we need to go through that. And in that case, you can check your keywords as well. You can, before extraction, you can do a lot of experiments. I do agree with that, because if this is your first time. For me, because I have done this process so many times, so I have already learned how these databases are working, and then I can do a little bit more quick. But for your first time, you need to work with different keywords as well. But try to cover one keyword which can cover everything, okay, which can cover all these different concepts within one concept. Okay, so try to, for example, if I'm looking at my keyword, I have this digital supply chains, and even supply and space dash chains. There are many different methods the people they are writing on this supply chain. So that's why I need to choose my keyword very carefully. Okay. But if you find now, even after doing all these things, if you find there might be a possibility there is a similar keyword which can give you some more research article, maybe 10, 20, or 30 with a different name, yes, you should include that. And you can run this query maybe 2, 3, 4 different times, and you can combine and merge all those Excel sheets into one. Okay, how to merge these sheets, I will upload one video for that as well. Don't consider this is a straight process or simple process, because I'm showing you only one key sheet, but most of the time it's not the case. Okay, so but try to minimize this multiple sheets, try to minimize this process by identifying the right keyword. But obviously it's possible. For example, supply chain, if I check on only logistics, yes, smart contracts and logistics can be one more search strategy that can be used, and then I can merge those two different fields or two different sheets. That's possible. Okay, so
Okay.
your answer is yes as well as no. Okay, so it's little
Okay.
bit,
Thank you very much.
but you need to work on your keywords more carefully. Okay, so everybody else understood this concept. The question was this: if we have synonyms or maybe some sort of a difference in the keywords, what shall we do? The possibility is this: you can extract different sheets and copy all the data into one sheet and then remove the duplicates. That's the easiest way. But try to identify your keywords more carefully. That's the takeaway message. Okay. Now, the question, is it possible that I apply other quality criteria such as number of citations or classifications or source, or it's too restrictive? Depending on your research question. Moga, can you explain why you want to do this? If you can unmute your mic and give me your.
Yes, Professor. Hi.
Hi.
Yes, my question maybe for another quality criteria like this is a very well referred article.
Yeah, you want to check only high quality research article, right? That's
yeah,
your
something like that. Or
Yeah,
it's not recommended because I lose some good articles or
it's
no.
possible. It's really possible, but depending on your research question. Okay, for example, sometime research is too scattered and you just want to focus on high quality research. That's possible. Okay, but why not you are including others that need justification? Why not Q3, Q4 and all research articles?
Yeah.
So strong
Okay.
justification, yes, you can do that.
Justification. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I believe until here things are clear. Let's move on to the next step, which really important, and we need to learn about that as well. Okay, so now let's move into step 4, where I want to do the analysis. Now, let me take you through the file, okay, which we were working on. If you remember, again, the template. So we have these different topics, and in introduction, research questions was already, copied here. Now we are in methods and materials. Now this is my key search queries. Now this is where you need to report all these different fields. If you remember, we discussed the PRISMA methodology, especially what type of keywords you used, what type of databases you search, what was your inclusion and exclusion criteria, how many record at first extracted, what was your quality assessment criteria and how you applied them, how many final research articles were included, and this is where we need to provide all that information which I just showed you while I was working with the keywords and the criteria. Okay, so is this clear? All these steps are clear for you? It's just a simple way of explaining them. For example, we used 2 keywords. In my case, I used smart contracts and supply chain, and sources I search is only Scopus here. And inclusion and exclusion criteria, I just took final research article. I excluded review paper, book paper, just reviews, conference proceeding, everything was excluded. Then I also excluded non-English material. Then total 435 research articles were extracted. From that, we checked each and every article one by one, a few research articles, and finally, we have 415 research articles included in that data. Is it clear? The methodology is clear. Any steps which you believe is confusing? Okay, clear? I believe this tells the whole story. You can write all this information from these 3 commands. Okay, so first we use these 2 commands, the keyword 1 and the keyword 2, and we extracted 11,126. Then we have supply chain, and then we limit it to research articles only. Then we have only 436. It means the rest of the articles were removed. Then we restricted to English language, only 415 research articles. Then we extracted that database into Excel sheet, and then we applied another quality assessment criteria and removed those articles which were not in the scope of the study. And then maybe 5 or 6 articles were removed, and then we have only 410 as a final number. Okay, is it clear? Any question here? Clear? Okay, now if this is clear, we are done with our methodology part now. So let's move on to the next step, which is analysis. Okay, now this is really critical, analysis. Okay, now analysis, we know that this is the main part of your research article, or even if you are not writing research article, dissertation, the analysis is the main idea which we want to generate through this systematic literature review. Okay, so analysis would be part of your core process. So there are 2 different types of the analysis, which I have explained in the template as well. The first one is the descriptive. So when we talk about the descriptive analysis, these are the tables and figures which you can see already available in that template. Okay, so we can provide general information, the year, the number of article, authors, and all this. If you check here, then we have distribution of research based on different subjects, allocation of the published literature, means that year-wise research, frequent resources, the sources mean the journals which have highest published research articles, then the most important sources from the reference list. All these are different descriptive analysis, which I will be going through how we can extract that and how we can report them in our data analysis or data extraction. Okay, now we have these descriptive analysis, and sorry, from here, I'll just let me finish this theoretical part and then we'll go for the practical as well. Okay, so there are different tables which represent the descriptive analysis. If we move further, the next step would be literature clustering. Divide your literature into different clusters. That's really important task. And that's where most of the researchers, they consume a lot of time, because we need to identify different approaches, different sources, different methods, different types of the research which have been conducted. So this is where I will be working with another tool, and will be extracting some data based on themes, which will be divided based on the keywords used in your research. Okay, so this is how we can have an idea, a rough idea of what literature looks like. Okay, so the different themes can be emerged, and this can be done with the software. I will let you know. So once we are done with this part, this is the starting of your variable, or sorry, literature clustering, and then we'll discuss each cluster separately. That part, literature clustering, would not be part of today's session because it would be too lengthy for you to cover everything in one go. But that would be end of your analysis part, where we'll be dividing our literature into different clusters. So let's see how we can do that, and how we can work with the basic descriptive analysis, and then how we can extract the information from that descriptive to literature clustering, and then how we can write next stage. Okay, so I believe let's move on with some research work. So for this, I'll be using one software which is called BiblioShiny. Okay, so BiblioShiny you can use in RStudio. How to install that BiblioShiny and how to use that BiblioShiny for basic purposes, I have already uploaded video on your portal. You can follow those steps. Okay, but here the purpose would be focusing on our template, not just working with the BiblioShiny or R package, but following that template which I have already provided to you, so we can complete our research article or systematic literature review. So this is RStudio, a simple software which is really helpful for us to run the analysis. So I already have installed the BiblioShiny package. If you have not installed the BiblioShiny package, I have already uploaded one video how to install and upload your BiblioShiny package for RStudio. Okay, so you can go to that video and follow steps, all steps. I have provided step-by-step approach to install the BiblioShiny package. Okay, so once you have installed that, the command is library, and in the brackets you need to write bibliometrics. So once you are done, just click enter. Now you can see the system already giving you a lot of information, and there is one research article which have been very fundamental research article on bibliometrics analysis. If you want to learn more about how to write bibliometrics analysis, please use this research article. It's really good. Okay, now just need to copy this BiblioShiny digit, and here copy and click. Now system is already open here. Sorry, I have previous practice as well. Now this is BiblioShiny, and the system will load its interface in a while. Okay, so once the software interface is loaded, then we will be working for next plan. Okay, just wait for software to load. Today's session is 1 hour and 30 minutes, so just bear with me. So we have 15 more minutes, so I'll be working with BiblioShiny basics, and then we move on with the next session, hopefully. So this week would be intense for all of you as well, because you need to do a lot of work. Previously, we were just, developing our concepts. Now we are in all this analysis and Prisma framework. There are so many things coming up in 1 week. So I believe you can spare some time to practice this one, and hopefully can manage the pace of our work. Okay, but I will give you some more time for doing your practice, and then you can ask question if there is any relevant question. Let me try again. I think I have some issues here. Okay, the meanwhile system is loading software. You have opportunity to ask questions. If you have any queries, any question related to your work, you can use this time to ask questions, so we can learn more on this. Any question? Take this opportunity to ask questions.
Hello, Prof.
Doctor.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah, please.
Good.
Go.
With respect to the descriptive analysis,
Yes.
are we supposed to do all the 7 that you listed, or you can select the ones you wanted and you do?
Okay. Why descriptive analysis is important for me? Because I want to assess the quality of your search. Okay. So the quality of your search is largely dependent on descriptive statistics. Okay. So I believe not just this 7, if you can do some more, because there are a lot of analysis available here in terms of descriptive analysis. If you can do some more, I would be more happy. But don't remove from these 7. They are very basics. I'm just giving you very basic ones. Okay. So try to apply all of them. Because the high quality research journals, they always wanted to check on your data set. So the more accurate your data set is, obviously the more accurate your work would be. Okay, so that's really important. This is my understanding, but if you are planning to submit in a normal journal, yes, you can remove some of them. Or if you want to work for your dissertation or thesis, that's your choice how many you want to use. Yes, next question.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a questions on searching the articles. My topics is regarding benefits of using complementary medicine in treating cancer patient. So when I try to search for just simply search before I forming the research questions, I found out that in the Google Scholar, there are more than 100K of articles on benefits of using complementary medicine, not only among cancer patients, but also among diabetic, among musculoskeletal pain patient. But then because the cancer patient will be my inclusion and exclusion criteria. So is it really matter about the 100K articles in the Google Scholar? Because when I search this topic in Scopus, there are only 100 plus, not until 500 articles in Scopus. It's really too little, but too much in Google Scholar.
That's why I don't want to use Google Scholar most of the time, because the Google Scholar, it's like a search engine. It will search everything, even it is not relevant. Okay, so you will see the relevance score maybe on the first 1, 2, 3 pages. You will find more relevant research article, and then a lot of pages they are not relevant. So I believe if you are working with Scopus or Web of Sciences, that would be really, really helpful for you. But if you are from the medical, I would recommend you to use PubMed as well. PubMed is really, really good in your area. Okay, so established databases will give you more accurate results. That's for sure. Okay, so concentrate on these databases rather than using Google Scholar. Google Scholar can give you, a lot of irrelevant results as well, and not authentic as well, because obviously it's really, it's not like our business research. It's dealing with the people and human life. So you need to be more careful when you are selecting your databases and data as well, because your results, they really matter for human life as well. So be careful while using these type of the databases. So I would recommend you to use PubMed, Web of Sciences, and Scopus. Don't use Google Scholar if you have access to these Web of Sciences and Scopus and PubMed as well. Okay.
Doctor, so even though the articles are not until 500, I still can use to form my research questions, right?
Yes, you can use, and also you can try with some other keywords as well. Okay, just try to find out, is there any synonyms or the cancer you can use as a context rather than using as a keyword. So you can play around with your words and try to identify the relevant keyword which in your opinion can cover all of your research. Okay, all of your articles that can cover under those keywords. Okay, so that's my understanding, but I want to see your accurate keywords once you are done with that. If you can email me, or you can post in your comments, so I can view those keywords and I can help you more in this topic. That's really interesting topic. Okay, I'm just interested in your keyword, so just go with 100. They are fair enough, but I believe there would be more, not just 100. You will find out in the different databases. Okay.
Doctor, the respondents, is it really important in searching the articles? I mean, the type of respondents and also the setting.
No, I don't think so. The type, if they are included in your research question, then obviously, for example, if you want to take only diabetic patient, or you want to specify them based on some respondents criteria, then yes. Otherwise, not required. That depends on your the way you crafted your research question.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, so let's move on. This is bibliometrics now. So it's really simple software. This is the interface of bibliometrics. Now, first thing first, I need to import data. So click here and load data. And you need to choose import raw files, okay? Because we are using raw files. Okay, now this is databases. So what databases you are using? Okay, Web of Sciences, Scopus, Dimensions, Lens.org, PubMed, or any other databases. So for me, I'm using Scopus. So just click on the Scopus and then choose File, Browse. Okay, so this is my scopus.csv file, which I have just exported from a Scopus database. Once upload is completed, I need to click here on Start. Now the system already trying to assess my databases and try to check whether all the relevant information is available. So once the test is passed, the check is passed, the system will display all the information. And now I'm good to go with all the analysis. That's it. The first part, the descriptive analysis, is already being done. I'll share with you a few clicks, and then you will understand. Okay. So this is a simple information. You can see abstract. Almost every article have their abstract, and everything is there. Number of cited references. There are some missing as well, and science categories are also missing. So these red ones are missing. This is poor criteria, and the rest is excellent and good. So for me, I believe this database is accurate. I'm just going to close it, and now you can see all my Excel sheet is already here. Now, first overview, click here. There are a lot of options available. You can go through them and apply them and try to learn but I will focus only on those which we have in the template. And then I also had some videos already available for you in the portal where you will learn how to use bibliometric software. Okay, that is the general videos, but today we'll be focusing on our template and try to extract all those information and tables which we have already copied in our data, okay, in our template. Okay, so click here on overview and then the main information. This is plot or table. I'm interested in the table because that was the one I have copied. So click on the table and the system will generate that table for you. Sometime, because it depends on the number of studies, references, and all these things involved, the system is trying to analyze everything. That might be sometime it takes some time for you. Okay, so showing all this data, if these are different bunch of options through which you can capture all the results. If the results are more than 50 rows, you can just increase the number of rows to be displayed. That's your choice. You can copy this and paste in your Excel sheet, or you can export as CSV or Excel. So what I do usually, or PDF or print, I export as Excel most of the time. Okay, so I can rework on these files later on. Okay, but for now, let's say copy, and then we need to paste this one. Okay, so this is the first table. So I can delete this one. And paste my table here, okay? Or you can bring it from Excel sheet as well. Copying directly from here, it might be in the text format. Let me go back to. Okay. So copying directly from here, it might be displaying as a text file. So Excel sheet will give you another option. You can copy as a table as well. Okay, so from the Excel, you can just copy as a table. Now, this is first thing first, where you have all this important information. Now you can extract this information, but you can also use ChatGPT to read this information and report your result. I will explain that later on in next videos, how you can use ChatGPT to explain your result. But for now, let's see the time span from 2017 to 2023. There are total sources, 243 sources mean journal. There are 436 research article, annual growth rate of 104. Then average document age is 1.77 years. So this is all general information, very basic information about the data you are using. Okay. Now the second thing was annual scientific production. So I'll go back and click here on the annual scientific production, mean that how many research article per year was published in different journals. So the system will give you a plot. Now you can see this is the number of research article. If you want to check on any research article, you can any year, you can just click here. And if you want to develop your own table or chart, you can just copy this one, this table, and you can import that table in Excel, and then you can rework and generate your own charts and tables as well. Okay, so if you want to see how many citations every year these research articles have received, so you can see the average citation per year as well. Now, three field plot is also one of the key field where we have the intersection between the research article, the field, and the author of the keywords. Okay, so there are different methods are available, but I usually don't use this one because this is don't have a lot of meaning inside this information. So that's why I don't use this most of the time, but many researchers, they would love to use it because it looks really good. So you can use it if you want to, but in our template, this is not available. Okay, we just wait for system to generate this. Today,
So can I ask a question why it's loading?
yeah, go ahead.
I wonder if the literature review, I want to include the content of the actual article, for example, the actual measurements. I want to review the measurements of, let's say I'm studying a construct of political stability, then I want to review the measurements of like how do people measure political stability. So I'm not sure how to do that with the method right now, because I don't think we have downloaded any articles. And from the information that it gathered in the CSV, I don't think it can, wow, this 3 view.
Okay, your question is relevant and very accurate. I love your question because it tells us that you have already doing some work on this. Now, remember, this CSV file is not for the paper analysis. It is just for idealizing or trying to, split the data into different fields or different clusters, okay? So once we are in that cluster, for example, the cluster of variable, we may have different indicator, different types of the variable. If you are working with just with the variable, I will discuss that part as well. But for example, now we have 4 different clusters, for example, 4 different streams of research. Now, once we identify that, at that time, we'll be going down to each article level. And we have tools which will tell us what are the measurement was used, what are the indicator and the exact data from each article. Yes, that we will do. Okay, but that is not the discussion for now. This is just general discussion. And then the next step is we will divide research into different clusters. Okay, once we are done with that, now we are dealing with each cluster separately. Before this, I was, dealing with everyone. Now I have one cluster. Okay, this is for traceability. Okay, let's see what research tells us about the traceability now.
Thank you.
Okay, what type of measures are available? What is the research? What are the relevant research articles? So it's not one step. There are multiple steps in research article writing. Okay, if you can check under the each cluster in the template as well, I have given content from the specific research articles, and we will be discussing those in detail. That's the main idea. We are trying to do that. Okay, so don't worry, we have tools. We will use Elicit for that as well. Okay, and then we have Jenny.ai as well. There are a few tools which can help us to generate different tables, and then we can explain those tables. Okay, clear?
Right. And you said in the so that's the content for next week. Is that what you mean?
No, we are heading towards that sequentially. Okay. Now the thing is, first we need to do this descriptive. Then we need to do with the your literature clusters, and then we will be talking about each cluster separately. I will try to upload these videos maybe within 2-3 days, because next week is our last week, and I'm afraid there is a lot of work to do. So that's why I'm trying to upload these videos as soon as possible, and you can find these videos and try to apply your concept. And then if you have any queries, next week we can discuss in detail if you would be able to apply those concepts. Okay, I'll try to finish everything before next week. I think next week would be the conclusion, and we'll be taking questions.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, do you mind I ask that you mentioned 2 software that would deal with the getting into the content of the article? Do you mind repeat that, those software?
Elicit.org, which we have already used for our research question, right? And then we also have another website for like ChatGPT. It is Jenny.ai. I will upload the videos on that as well. Okay, so don't worry, we have different tools, but obviously we need to go back to research articles once we have our clear understanding of different sort of clusters. Are you working on the measurements of any research variable?
Is this question for everyone or for me?
No, for you. Are you working on specific measurements or
Yes,
what's
yes.
the research question?
Yes, so I am working, this particular one, I'm trying to search the political stability of a host country. How does it affect foreign firms?
So are you planning to identify the indicators of political stability?
Yes,
Okay, so that should be your key question, research question, right?
yeah, that's one of the literature shortcomings I try to identify, and then from there to expand my contribution. But yes, that's one of the points I can enter.
Okay, you want to see how many different indicators are there and what work has been done and what not been done, right? So that's my quick understanding.
Yes, so it's essentially I try to get into. I think just talking about indicators wouldn't be enough for me to identify the gap in the literature. It's
Agreed.
more so about the construct and the measurements that
Agreed.
I read like a couple 40, 50 papers. I think the construct and the measurement doesn't align. It's the main issue. But now if we have like these tools, I think I can expand from this 40-something literature to more
Agreed.
literature so I can strengthen my point that measurements and construct do not align.
Yeah, and that's what I was just about to say. Just allow literature to segregate or clusterize. Once you have these clusters, in these clusters you can have these strengths and weaknesses, limitations that we can figure out through each research articles easily, no problem. Even we can find out the indicators, we can find out how many respondents, we can find out methodology, everything. Don't worry. Okay. And what are the results of each article? So that would be done. Okay, now, okay, so we have a question. Can we use ChatGPT and Bing to form research question if elicit cannot function? ChatGPT can help you. Yes, it can help you, but elicit we need to use in many different ways as well. So that's why I would recommend you to teach yourself about elicit, because it is really useful and we have to use it in the next stages as well when we will be working within the clusters. Okay, so please go ahead. ChatGPT also can work. Bing can also work. Genie.ai can work, but elicit have some advantages over all of these different ChatGPT or AI tools. Okay, so that's why it's really important for you to learn how it works. And if it is not working, if you can send me the screenshot through email, so I can learn why it's not working for you, because it's a free software. Okay, let's move on. So these are different types of the literature analysis. Now, let's say sources. This one will tell you about the sources. Sources mean the research journal. Okay, so if we want to see how many article published per journal, so we can just click on most relevant sources and click on play button, and you will find out there are different research journals. We can see that here. AIXS is having 47, and then sustainability 14, and then we have different journals. You can copy table as well, the way we were doing it before. Okay, so now in BiblioShining, you need to understand there are two types of the citations. One we call local citation and other we call global citations. Similarly, we use this word local cited sources or global cited sources. Okay, so local cited sources are those journals which have been cited within the references of all those research articles which we downloaded in this Excel sheet. Okay, clear? So local cited sources are those research journals which have been cited within the references of those research articles which we extracted in CSV file. And the global are those which are outside this Excel sheet, and they are available on the internet as well. So that's why when we use local cited source, it means that this is about that database which you have just imported. And if it is talking about the general impact or global impact, it means that it tells us how many times this journal has been cited. It doesn't necessarily from this databases only, it can be from anywhere. Okay, so let's move on. So if you want to see the Bradford law, you can just click here and the Bradford law would be extracted. It tells us the most important feature of your data. It tells us more research articles have been published in very few journals. That's called Bradford law. Okay, so you can see that in most of the time, sorry, I'm just closing this. So most of the time, zone 1 is that zone where you have the research journal which have highest frequency, highest publication frequency. Okay, and then if you move on, you will see that the number of article is being less now, and then you will see a time where you will find a journal with 1 article only in your database. So it tells us mainly what are the key journals available in your database data set. So I can understand from here IEEE Access, Sustainability, and Computing and Industrial, Computers and Industrial, I'm not sure with the complete name. Industrial Engineering is the second, third highest frequent journal. So most important journals we can identify from here. Similarly, this is about the sources, the journal. Now, similarly about the author. Similarly, we can have idea about the author. We can find out how many different authors with who is the most frequent author. Then Lotka's law is similar to Bradford law. It tells you most important authors in your area, in your data. It tells you how many authors were there who have published only 1 article, how many have published 2 articles, then 3, then 4, and then traditionally, the more publication, the author will be reduced. For example, you will find in your data set 50 people have published 1 article each. Okay, and then 10 people have published 10 articles or 2 articles each. And then 1 person have published 20 articles. So it means that the more article, the less number of authors you will find. So this is called authors productivity through Lotka's law. Okay, so these are simple calculation, nothing serious and nothing more about it. Now let me close here because it's already 1.5 hours and a lot of information is being and discussed today. Now I will upload videos in continuation from here. Bibliometrics, we will be discussing about how we can use these clustering. This is where you can see thematic evolution, clustering, and all these features which we use, and especially the conceptual structure, which I refer as thematic evolution. So we want to see how many different themes are there from our research article, and how to read this table is really, really important. So I will prepare a separate video for these. And for now, we just conclude here on the descriptive statistics, and you have already learned the bibliometrics, and you can find out all those descriptive statistics which I have just shown you in PowerPoint slides, and then you can just work on those and try to extract that information based on your own research, because today it's already a lot of work it needs to be done. Okay, I think that's it. Here we can just this would be your thematic evolution, but don't worry, I will upload another video for this. So for now, I'm just concluding here and opening session for question answer. So if you have any question, please go ahead and ask your questions. And if you have any query, any comments, please go ahead and take the time or take this opportunity to ask question.
Professor, hi.
Hi.
More or less about the structure of the paper, how many pages do you recommend, for example, for the methodology, for the descriptive and the discussion? More or less, what do you recommend about that? About the different parts.
Yeah, have you already downloaded the template which we are using for this?
Yes.
Okay, now there is no exact number, because this is a literature review article. Obviously, it is a lengthy research article. It's not like 4,000 or 5,000 words. It's quite lengthy article. So my understanding, when I write, I always write more than 10,000 or 10,000. Why? Because we can reduce if journal needs it. But these types of the research article, they need to be explained more, because this is more inductive in nature. So we need to explain each research article, what are the finding, limitations, strengths, weaknesses. So it needs some sort of lengthy writing. Now let's just focus on a few points. Most of your work would be done in clustering. Okay, so you will write more on that. So you can write less in your methodology and in your descriptive, just to reduce the number of words, because mostly we will be working within the clusters. So until now, we have not passed halfway to our research article. Introduction, you can just write not more than 1,000 words. So it's fair enough. Methodology, 500 to 800 words or 1,000 words. And then you move on to your actual work, where you will be discussing about the different tables for descriptive and then literature clustering. So it needs a lot of writing. So that's why I would recommend you to be precise but accurate in research methodology. So don't spend a lot of writing in your research methodology. But analysis, yes, you need to write more.
Okay.
That's
Thank
how
you.
this systematic literature review paper generally they work. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Any question? Okay, then let me just conclude today's work. It's really important session, and I would take this opportunity to revise what we learned today quickly. So everybody should be on the same page. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so we Okay, so what we have done previously, we have started with the conceptualization, where you have already done with the research question, really important task. Then you have already done with the introduction, and means that the information. You need to work on your keywords. That's already being done in the previous videos. Today, we talked about main task, which is search strategy. So we use PRISMA framework. And I taught you how you can use this PRISMA framework for your literature search using Scopus database. And this is the table. It is available on PRISMA website. So you can just search PRISMA framework or PRISMA guideline. You will be directed to this website where you can download this. And whenever you are writing any systematic literature review, it is preferably you need to fill up this framework or this guideline. So in order to make it more standardized. So that's really important for all systematic literature reviews. So we have learned how we use this different inclusion and exclusion criteria in terms of writing our extracting our accurate record, and then we have done with some quality assessment on Excel sheet as well, removing the duplicates as well. I will upload these short videos as well for your help. Whenever you are stuck in any part of it, you can use those videos to work quickly on your area. Okay, so then we have extracted these records from Scopus or Web of Sciences, and then we started analysis. For the analysis, what we have done for now is descriptive analysis. Don't go for cluster. That I left it for next video. But for the descriptive analysis, I believe you can use BiblioShiny software and generate all these tables. Okay, all these tables and figures which I am displaying here. I will also upload this PowerPoint with your session upload, so you can learn more what need to be done. But at the same time, all these descriptive analysis, the template is already being provided in your portal, and you can use this template and download all these different sort of descriptive analysis from BiblioShiny software using R. how to install R and how to use BiblioShiny. I have already uploaded that video, and you can follow those steps and download R package and use this BiblioShiny software. If you're still having any problem, you can comment or you can email me. Unfortunately, I was unable to read any comments last week because I was working on this one, but hopefully until next Wednesday, I would be able to read all your comments and respond to your comments as well. Okay, so next we will be working on literature clustering. I believe until descriptive statistics, everyone is clear. Now we will be working on literature clustering. This is how we can divide literature into different segments and what we can learn within each segment, and then how to synthesize our existing literature or existing body of knowledge. So that is literature clustering, which I will upload in the next video, and you can watch those videos later on and try to apply the same concept in your research. Okay, so that's the conclusion for today. I left everything before literature clustering, means that until descriptive analysis for you to practice. Please do practice, and if you have any question, queries, you can ask me in the next session, or you can have your question ready for me in the next question. You can send me your work as well for review, and I can recommend you some improvements in your work. So that's it for today's session. I hope it's really an learning session, intense session. So I hope everybody is learning today, and hopefully you can apply it quickly, so we shall not stuck on these points. So if you still have any questions, I give you another opportunity to ask question for now. Otherwise, we can just conclude today's session. So if you have any question, this is the last opportunity for today. For any question. Then I think things are clear. I will try to upload this session by end of tomorrow, so you can learn again if you want to watch this video again, because this is really important video, so you can watch again and try to learn from that video. Thank you very much and have a very nice day. See you in the next session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Next session is on Sunday. If
you.
you want to attend, that's your choice. Otherwise, that session is not mandatory. It's your choice if you want to attend. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.